So a couple of days ago, the announcement for Ableton Live 12 came out, and there's many people that are very excited and also a few people that are a little bit skeptical, and I want to give you my 2 cents on the new update. So this is the trailer, and it came accompanied by a whole bunch of different other videos. Here's one example of them, but if I scroll down, I'll probably find more. So a lot of different creators got their hands on Live 12. I was excluded from that. So that does mean that I don't have any hands-on experience with it. I can only see what is available in the trailer and what is available online. And what I really want to talk about is quickly going over my comment that I left here, in which I address one of the issues that I've had for Ableton for a long time, which is the plugin delay compensation and their sandboxing. I would love if the plugin delay compensation could be altered so that it would work per plugin. I don't want to go too much into the technical details in this video. I just want to kind of go over it real quick because at the end of the day, it's not really important, and I'll show you why in a second. The only real point that I'm making here is that I think Ableton is losing to a DAW like Bitwig because it does include those kind of features, and that's when you get a little bit more into the technical side of producing is a very important kind of feature. Something like the plugin sandboxing allows your plugins to crash without the whole project crashing. And the plugin delay compensation that Ableton has right now does work very well in a live setting, but it's not really meant for dealing with a whole bunch of high latency plugins. Now there's some other comments as well here. I'm definitely not the only one that is asking for features. Here you can see another comment. Here you can see another comment. Here's another one talking about the feature request. Here's another one about live performance having some issues. There's still some people that are enthusiastic about the update, but you can see that most of the comments that you see under this trailer here are people asking about a specific feature that they requested or that they want or something like that. Now this will be a big problem for Ableton because obviously they want people to be happy about the release. They want all of their new features to go appreciated. And having all of these comments down here asking for other things is probably not the nicest thing. But there is a reason why people are asking for it, and it feels like Ableton is falling behind other DAWs. I mainly talked about Bitwig, but another example would actually be FL Studio. And the reason why I'm saying FL Studio is because they are doing the thing where if you just purchase a license, you'll get your lifetime free updates. And the updates are just as good, if not better, than the ones that you get for Ableton, and Ableton makes you pay for them. Another example of a DAW that does that, as far as I know, is Reaper. I purchased Reaper for $60 a while back, and I just recently got an update to Reaper 7. They didn't have to pay anything extra, didn't have to pay anything else. It just works, it just installs from the website. So it feels like Ableton is being beaten in all sides. On the one hand, there's Bitwig, which just does things a little bit better in terms of the way that they handle plugins and their delay and stuff like that. And then on the other side, there's also companies that charge you way less or even nothing for an update. Now, when it comes to a situation like this where you have to make a choice whether you want to upgrade or not, you really have to do it on your own. And I'm just going to make my decision here on camera so that you can see what I'm doing. So honestly, the easiest way to decide it is just to put all of the points here on kind of like a diagram like this. We can start with monetary cost because that's the easiest to explain. When it comes to monetary cost, this is free. There's a little cost to the update, but usually buying a new DAW costs more. It's also going to depend on the DAW. It could even be free for me because I already own Reaper, so I could decide to switch to Reaper. But on average, I'm going to say that it's probably going to cost more than the update, and therefore I'm going to assign it bigger cost. Where I'm also going to assign bigger cost is kind of like the cost of not being able to work at your highest workflow. What I mean by that is on Live 11, I've been working with it for 7 years now, or at least the Live brand or the Live series of DAWs. So up until this point, I have like 7 years of experience in this program here. That is also going to come to Live 12. There's going to be a little bit of time of adapting, but it's not going to be a massive impact on your workflow. But with changing DAWs, there's a bigger learning curve to it because everything is different, right? It's a completely different piece of software, so you have to get used to everything. I remember when I did a testing out Bitwig stream and I had a lot of trouble with just the basic things of adding effects in the way that I wanted them and all of the like real basic stuff that you just need to do thousands of times when you're actually trying to write music. Everything felt a little bit different and you're going to need a few weeks or maybe even a couple of months to get back at your old level of just like efficiency in working. Now, this might seem like a very nitpicky thing, but this is actually very, very important for somebody like me. When I'm doing tutorials, when I'm trying to release music and all of that stuff, like efficiency counts, especially for the tutorial part. If I have to make a tutorial and I have to come up with an interesting technique or an interesting idea, I don't want to have to sit there and spend the time learning the most basics of things about the DAW. So for that reason, I'll write down biggest learning curve here. No learning, and then little learning right here. And you can think the same way about the projects that you currently have going on. Maybe you want to still continue them in the DAW of choice and only start new projects in a new DAW. Well, then it can be really hard to get motivated, especially if you have to switch DAWs to work on a new track. So that's kind of another negative of switching DAWs, is that suddenly there's this kind of cliff that is going through, I guess, the work that you're doing. So really, to finish this diagram, we could probably look at it somewhat like this. As you can see, I wrote the biggest hiccup to the workflow is going to be when you're changing DAW, and when you have an update or when you stay on Live 11, it's basically going to be like no difference. I said little stress to workflow here. There's just going to be that little bit of a thing where 1 or 2 settings may have moved, or 1 or 2 of the tricks or plugins that you used to use no longer work with the new software, something like that. But what you get in return is also important, in that when it comes to the features that you want from a DAW, switching to Bitwig may give you all of the features that you want. Now, if this new update to Live 12, as you can see, you're going to get some new features. And if you stay on Live 11, you're not going to get any of the new features because you're not updating to anything. What I want to talk about with this graph, the reason why I made this graph is a lot of people suggest switching DAWs is an alternative to updating DAW. And what I want to suggest is that it's fundamentally different, because it's like a much bigger step in every single way from just an update. Yes, you're going to get some or maybe even all of the features that you really want for your DAW by switching to a different DAW, but you're also going to get all of the disruption to your workflow. You have to spend all of the time learning a new DAW, and probably at the end of the day, if you calculate everything, if you switch to the new DAW every time that you want a new feature from a DAW, then you're going to spend too much on DAWs. So while many people are telling me to switch to Bitwig, I do want to say that, believe it or not, even Bitwig at some point is going to become old news. And then this cycle changes over and over again. What in my opinion is much easier is to just accept the flaws of your DAW, the ones that they have, fight to get them removed by leaving comments and asking for new features, and only updating to a new version if the upgrade is actually worth it. So when it comes to Live 12, I don't think that I'll be updating. I'm not quite yet convinced. What I am 100% convinced about is that moving to Bitwig is not a solution to this problem. So that's going to be everything that I wanted to talk about. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.